It is an honor to be in downtown New York City at the Grand Hyatt at the 11th annual MegaGen Implant Symposium with the founder of the company, Dr. Kwang Bum Park. Did I say that right?
Yes, exactly.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I have. They say if you speak multiple languages, you're European or an Asian or Latin America, but if you only speak one language, you're an American. And I don't know any other foreign words, and I think it's amazing that you can give an interview in a second language. What I am so impressed about you, I remember the first time I saw you lecture in Scottsdale with some of my best friends, Tom Mattern, who's one of your biggest fans. And it's just so amazing. Many implant companies, they're just corporations, whatever. But you're a real live dentist from Seoul, Korea. And your dental office that you showed, I mean, it's like 8-9 stories tall with all the specialties. And I mean, you are an amazing person. And I feel sorry for people who look at the word MegaGen and think it's just a name. I mean, that name is you. My first question to you is, what made you want to start an implant company?
Yes, in 1990, I placed my first implants and made in the United States, of course. And then we had quite a big group of study and education teams. And with the repeated use of American and European brand of implants, we found that something is not matching with our Korean patients, because Koreans are a little bit special, especially in terms of food, the density of food and the chewing patterns. We had more failures than expectations, than on the literature. So we started to think, we have to change something from current design and the current shape of implants. So we asked especially 3i. I was big fan of 3i implants, and we requested the 3i to change the design, especially for Korean patients. But it was denied, of course. At the time, Korea was very small, very tiny country, and the number of implants placed at the time was not enough, so they didn't listen. And after that, we contacted with some European companies also, but they had no ideas. So we started to think how we can make an implant company in Korea. But we were just a dentist, no ideas on the engineering and operation of company. So anyway, our team decided to make a company in 1998. But sometime when we have chance, yes, let's make a company. And we decided the name of company already. And when I was in United States in 2000 to study more with Dr. Thomas-san and with the professors of UCLA, and then two guys flight from Korea. One was engineer, one was a businessman, and then they told me, they can help me, our team, to make a company. So that was the start. Why I made the implant company? The answer is yes. I didn't like the design of implants at the time. So
now at 2015, do you believe that Koreans have a different chewing or a different diet or chewing factor that was different than the rest of the world? And
yes.
And what is that from? Is it more chewing or different types of food or less? What do you think it was?
It's quite strong. It's more wears on the tooth with the Korean patients. So chewing pattern is a different kind of food. Usually Americans and the Europeans eat food like chop chop chop. That's enough. But Koreans use their more lateral movements. It's totally different. With accumulation of stress, I had a lot of failures, broken failures, fractures. So even 2 unit bridge or 3 unit bridge with the 3 implants was cut. it's unbelievable. You
I
cannot
want-
imagine.
I want to give you 3 words and have you talk about each one of those words. So on Dental Town, I look at the words that dentists are searching. And when they go to implants, the top 3 searches are going to be, should I cement this or screw it? Number 2, I don't think anybody knows what platform shifting is. And of course, the big one, immediate load. Can you talk about all 3 of those subjects?
Yes. Which one is the first?
Cement or
Cement
screw?
or screw. So I started my implant practice with the screw retained prosthetics mainly. At the time, of course, my mentor, my teachers taught me to make that kind of prosthetics because of retrievability. So 99% of prosthetics I made on my implants was screw retained prosthetics. But external hexed implant has some limitations. Retrievability is good with the screw retained, but not easy to make precise precisions. So we developed the combination of cement and the screw retained. So we named as I said, one Korean guy named it as SCLP, screw cement retained prosthetics, SCLP. Combination techniques, and most of Korean dentists use the technique still now, and it's good. But recently, with the help of CAD/CAM technology, so I usually make cement retained prosthetics, and because we can control the cement space, it's much more retentive, and even we use very very flexible temporary cement. And it can be maintained in the mouth, very stable. And if we want to take it out, you can take it out. So retrievability with temporary cement and the customized abutment and the zirconia crown, it matches very well. So nowadays I'm using almost 100% with the screw retained. Cement retained, yeah.
And what cement are you using specifically?
There are many different kind of implant cement. So I'm using SEM implant cement, CEM implant cement. It's good.
And who makes that?
It's made in France.
France? Okay.
But it's, I think other implant cement is similar.
Okay. And you said CAD/CAM.
Yeah.
What specific CAD/CAM system are you using?
As we call this as a digital implant technology, right? But most of people start to use are using CT. That is one part digital, and to make we are using CAD/CAM machines to make customized abutment and CAD/CAM made prosthetics. So I like to use a zirconia customized abutment mainly. And I usually make monolithic zirconia crowns on top of the customized abutments.
What machine brand name CAD/CAM are you using?
In my clinic, we are using 3 different machines.
Wow.
So one is IMS iCore. IMS iCore. It is a German company.
Okay, it's called IMS. Can you spell it?
IMES.
IMES.
ICO.
Okay.
IMS iCore. It was good. I met the machine as a first, so I'm using it. And for the mass productions, I forgot the name. Zirconia. I need to ask.
That's okay.
And the one for the titanium products, I like a Korean CAD/CAM. It's really good.
And what's the name of that one?
Arum company.
Huh. Okay. And so what about, a lot of dentists are confused about, can we immediate load or not? Will you talk about when it's good to immediate load, when it's good not to, and just talk about your thoughts on immediate load?
So we have lots of articles on the immediate loading, maybe 20, 30 years ago. Many doctors started immediate loading, but most of articles was made from mandibular hard
Right.
bones and the full mouth case. Why we cannot do immediate loading more often on the upper arch? It's because of stability, right? And the implant design. So we know the implant stability goes down after implant placement for third and the fourth week. So the third and fourth week, the first month actually can be said as the weakest point of the implants. So we have to wait until 6-8 week when we recover the implant stability with the osseointegrations. So we followed that rule almost 20 years. But I thought, our team started thought, why we don't make a special implant system which doesn't show the decrease of implant stability. So we tried many experiments, and then finally we found, very knife threaded implants have it doesn't make a big stress on the bone. Just cut the bone and place during the implant placement, and it has a wide surface, and it doesn't push bone that much. So because of the pressures during and after implant placement, the surface of the implants have not surface. The bone against the implant surface have some amount of necrosis, and at the beginning, not big. So that's why we have a decrease on the ISQ and implant stability. If we can maintain the first initial stability forever, or if the stability goes up always, yes, we can start immediate loading. We can start loading immediately after surgery. So we got it. With the first design was finished in 2008, and we measured ISQ, several hundred implants, and we found it. Okay, this is really good. But in 2009, 2010, we start to lecture to our colleagues and dentists in Korea, and then many people said, I don't want to do that. Because what? So they still want to be they want to be just to stay at their current implant treatments. They don't need to fasten. They just place implants, wait several months, and some guys told me, yes, it looks a little bit scary. I said, if some patient has implant failures, who will get back? You can guarantee? No. So we tried to modify the goal was fixed. How to educate people, what kind of instrument, what kind of equipment we need to convince them. So Enrich was the first, and then we tried to make a very convenient ISQ machines and torquing machine also, and somebody who wants to load very safely, even though there are some mistake. So we made fuse abutments for the immediate loading. Then when they repeat to use a fuse abutment and they repeat to try the immediate loading, they will realize, this is much better and this is very safe. Then I can try immediate loading with a definitive customized abutment and the crown. So that was our 5 years history.
So I want to ask you, in the United States, most of the implants are placed by oral surgeons and periodontists. Would you agree?
Mm-hmm.
And probably 9 out of 10 general dentists, family dentists, have never placed an implant.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the way it is in Korea too?
No.
Explain the difference in general dentists and specialists in Korea versus the United States.
So I think in Korea, from the beginning, So we didn't have strong specialties. Of course, we have specialties in the university, and I'm a periodontist. I trained for 3 years, but nobody refer the perio patients to me. I have to finish my prosthetics on my patient also. So everybody do surgery, everybody do prosthetics, even endodontics.
Is that the way it is in most of the world? Is the United States kind of isolated in the fact that it has 9 specialties that have 30,000 dentists in 9 specialties, 7 of which are clinical, 2 of them are non-clinical, public health and oral radiology, but 7 clinical, and then 120,000 general dentists. Is that kind of unique to the United States? Does most of the rest of the world not heavy in specialties?
I think so. And the trend is going to the general dentist. And I believe every dentist should be the super general dentist.
And when you think of implants in Korea, what percent of implants, okay, like in the United States, when impressions go to the lab, 95 out of 100 are for one tooth at a time. Only 5% are for big cases. Is that the way it is with implants in Korea? I mean, what is there, 40,000 dentists in Korea? Is it 40,000?
Yeah, 15.
How many?
15. In total, we have 20,000.
20,000 dentists?
And among them, 15,000 dentists are placing implants.
So you have 20,000 dentists in South Korea, and 15,000 of them place implants.
Yes.
So 3 out of 4 place implants.
Implants, right.
And here it's only 1 out of 20. So you got a lot of growth here.
Yes.
But my question specifically was, when those 15,000 dentists are placing implants, what percent of the time, or is it just for replacing one missing tooth?
And it's becoming smaller and smaller. When I started,
It's smaller and smaller?
When I started, the implant was not very popular, and the patients didn't know what is implant. So we need to educate the patients. At that time, about 25 years ago, I had a lot of full mouth cases. But now, people were educated. They know how to treat, and whenever they lose one tooth, they think implants. Now. So in most case, I do surgery on the single implant in single missing case.
So most of your implant cases today are just 1 at a time?
In most case.
Okay, so I want you to talk now to these general dentists who have never placed an implant. How could a general dentist, what would, we want to go to the next floor. There's several steps. Talk about the first couple of steps. What training would you recommend? Somebody is listening to this podcast, driving to work, and they're like, well, first question is, what would be an ideal case? Would it be, what would be your favorite tooth? I mean, obviously a first molar might need a sinus lift. What would be the easiest first case? And how could that person get trained? How much training to do that first? So what tooth would you recommend first?
Of course, the healed ridge and the hard inner bone, and with the enough height of bone. So,
so where around the mouth? Lower anterior?
Lower molar.
Lower molar?
Lower molar is the best place.
Okay.
The first molar and second molar is quite difficult to approach. So first and the second premolar and first molar will be the best candidates.
The lower second premolar and the lower first molar, that'd be easiest. So number 2, would you want a 3D X-ray of that? Would you want a CBCT?
Of course. Yes. If we have, I usually worked with the panoramic digital panorama at the beginning, but with the CBCT, so I could open my eyes, so I could imagine what I can encounter with the surgery. So emergence you can minimize the emergence. So if you have CBCT.
Do you like any particular CBCTs? Any systems you like?
Nowadays, I believe most CBCT companies make a very, very nice quality of CT machines.
And on this implant, would you recommend a surgical guide? If it's only for one tooth, and there's a tooth in front, there's a tooth in back, are those 2 teeth enough to guide you? I mean, you just have to, or would you recommend a surgical guide? For your
Yes.
first 100 implants?
For the first 100 implants, actually, I don't recommend to use surgical stent. They have to understand.
You do or don't?
It's really, really good to make a minimally invasive surgery. But if he want to learn implant procedure, he need to know how to make a incision, how to handle the soft tissues. So if you just rely on the surgical guide, they don't know how you can make a tissue, how you can feel the bone density, what's the shape of the rigid resorptions. So during the first not few cases, 20, 50 cases, I hope they can make incisions
And lay a flap.
Place implants. Yes,
Without a surgical guide?
with or without surgical
With or
guide.
without a surgical guide?
But with the repeated, after understanding of the bone quality and the soft tissue management, they can minimize the surgical complications. It's just
What training would you recommend?
as a general dentist,
Who's never placed an implant and wants to add this treatment?
in my mind, not I'm a periodontist. I think in the implant treatments, the soft tissue is the most important. Of course, we have to know how to handle bones, how to regenerate the bone deficiency. But without the soft tissue, excellent soft tissue skill, it's very difficult to make bones. So, yeah, I hope they can try to make flaps and try to make sutures as accurate as possible and with minimal tensions. So they have to understand the soft tissue first. So incision and suture is the first priority to me.
I would love it if someone like yourself could provide an implant curriculum from A to Z online. 1-hour courses, diagnosing treatment planning, how to do a CAD CAM, how to do. I would love that. I wish someday they could log on to Dental Town and have like 25 to 50 1-hour classes on implants from A to Z. I think that would be fantastic for dentistry.
I think so. And not just we are dentists, so we need very nice handle skills, not only the knowledge.
So what would you say to a dentist who's looking out there and there's 50 different kinds of implant systems? And now they get to talk to you, the dentist, periodontist owner who started MIGen. If this dentist is driving his car and is probably wondering, tell me what's different about your implant than another system. Why should a dentist use MegaGen?
So we are still tiny company, and most of university teach the major implant systems. It's the Nobel and the Stroman and some European implant systems. But in my mind, it's kind of perceptions. Many big companies made a lot of articles, and so just they rely on the articles. So they think these articles and this company is trustful. But in my mind, it's not. Most articles I found, were made with the guidance of company. So I don't like it, of course. But even we are trying to make more scientific articles. But why they have to use MegaGen implant? I cannot say. But this is very, very special. And they need to, if somebody want to switch from this implant system to other implant systems, it will not be easy because they are used to use. They are stuck. Already their brain was stuck with these implant systems. If they have a new implant system which can give different characteristics, different phenomena, they are scared. They feel scared. Even this is better, they don't have experience. So after several years, usually they can start to change their mind, their systems. So it's a problem of perceptions.
I want to ask you another question. I want to get back on the third search word, platform switching. So many dentists are searching for that term. So they're obviously they want more information. What is platform switching? Is that what is that?
Platform switching is when we started the implant system with especially with the brand mark system. The platform of the implant was exactly matched with the platform of abutments. There was no offsets, just straight. It was connected straight. Then, we found some amount of bone loss around the implants. We call it socializations. So we accepted it's just normal. But with the repeated studies, we found it's because of bacterial products, bacterial toxins. So some scientists and some doctors tried to make a smaller platform and smaller connections against the implant platform. So even after placement of 5 mm diameter of implants, they tried to place 4 mm diameter of abutments. They, on single side, they had a 0.5 millimeter gap. Then it means the bone is that much far from the bacterial products. So they found the bone loss was reduced. Then, with the development of internal connections, the precision became much better, and that means the space where bacteria can survive was minimized. Then, bacterial products was much less than external hexed implants. Then we found, bone was much better. The cresta bone was very well maintained with internal connections. If we use internal connections, there is automatically some amount of platform switching.
Okay, let me ask you another question since you're a periodontist. Of the implants that fail, do you think that's more failures are caused by the operator, the dentist error in drilling the bone too hard or fast or burning the bone? Or do you think more implants fail from bacteria, like because they had periodontal disease, the tooth had an abscess, a failed root canal? What do you think is a bigger factor? Is bone burning a big issue in placement?
Yes, it depends on the stage of the failure. If we have a failure after 2 weeks after implant placement, yes, we can think it's mainly because of overheating. But if we have a failure several years after implant placement, we have to think it's because of bacteria, then the overloading.
Bacteria and force.
Yes, that is the two key words.
And do you think it's more, if an implant fails 5 years later, do you think it's more bacteria or more force?
It's combined. But when I used the 3i implant system, at the time they had machined surface. But ITI had, TPS surface. TPS surface are very easy. It's very easy to be contaminated with bacteria, but machined surface was very clean, and we had a strong debate which surface is better. And then they said.
I want to also want to congratulate you. You just came out with the first edition of your book, From A to Z Implantology, and it is an amazing book. Everyone at the convention, we've all been looking at it and reading it last night, today, this morning. Tell us about your new book.
Actually, our group published many books on the soft tissue management and regeneration and our previous implant systems. And this is focused on our future projects named as Eureka R2. So we are trying to make the second revolution in implant dentistry.
And what was the first revolution, and what is the second revolution?
First revolution is from Dr. Brandmark about in 1985 to the start of this Eureka Art project.
And explain what you mean by eureka. I mean, eureka's
Eureka is kind of interjections. So when we find something, Archimedes, Archimedes found the rules, and he said, "Oh, Eureka! I found it." Something like this.
Right.
Yeah. So we, when we made the plan for the one-day implants, which will be the future, very soon. One-day implant means place implants, that deliver the definitive crown, and do any kind of regenerations at the same time with the surgery. Do it everything at once, and just dismiss patients.
Well, you know what?
You know
what my fantasy is for that book. You know what my dream is? Talk about a second revolution.
Yeah.
So I started Dentaltown in 1998, and you started MegaGen in 1998. We're both dentists. And when I started Dentaltown, it was on a personal computer. And of the 2 million dentists around the world, only 500,000 had a personal computer, and Dentaltown got 200,000 of those 500,000 dentists as members. But the mainframe went away, the PC's going out. Now it's the smartphone.
Yes.
And we came out with the Dentaltown app, and over 50,000 dentists have downloaded it. And our podcast is going to be on the app under podcast, where they can watch this. And dentists are what's really popular is they go to their settings and they hit Bluetooth and they're listening to it in their car. But guess what? Our new section is that we're going to have. We're next month we're launching books.
Good.
And there's a lot of kids who don't want to carry around a 5-pound book in their purse and go on an airplane.
I agree.
And it would be the greatest honor for me ever if our first digital book was by the man himself, a real dentist who's starting his second revolution in implants. So, if you're
Great.
thinking about that,
Yes.
I would love that, because then they can read it on their iPhone. There's Samsung. You're from Korea, so I'm embarrassed to have an iPhone. I should have a Samsung. I do have an LG TV. So Hyundai, LG, Samsung. Hyundai? Samsung, LG. Are those the three biggest consumer brands in Korea?
Kia.
Kia? Is Kia and Hyundai?
Hyundai is the same company, but
Kia and Hyundai same, Samsung. But if I want you to think about that, because if you put that book on our new Dentaltown app, I think it'll be read more times.
Yes,
than
it's treasure. We are preparing the digital book also.
Okay. But I just want to tell you, it was an honor to meet you 3 years ago in Scottsdale. I wish everybody could see, how could dentists out there see a picture of your dental office in Seoul, South Korea?
So
Is that on your
website? But
is it on your website, MegaGen?
No. We have a different network, the different company named as MIR Dental Network. MIR, MIR, the Dental Network.
Yeah.
And
we have a magazine that goes to 125,000 dentists. I wish you would someday write us a story of you, an autobiography showing your clinic, because me and Tom Mattern were mesmerized by your lecture in Scottsdale. What you're doing there is just phenomenal. You're an amazing man. And I would like to share your story with more Americans. So if you ever have time to write an article that has pictures of you and your clinic and your facility, that's just amazing. And
Thank
one of
you.
my lifelong
It's great.
dreams is actually lecture to the Korean Dental Association. So if you have any contacts there, I'd sure like to come over there and lecture and see your clinic in person.
Why not?
I would love that. But thank you so much for your
Thank
time.
you very much.
You're an
Thank
amazing
you.
man. Thank you very much.